It's time for the daily edition of Litter Media Live with the icon Mike Smith. I'm Dan Ramey.
Blue and blue.
We are blue today,
But not sad blue.
now this is I guess mine's a little lighter. It's a different texture,
Yeah.
different shirt. This is one of the older shirts. The one that I have that's newer is like that one.
Right.
But right now, I appear to have this bright blue about me.
You're bright. I'm easy. That was an old radio slogan that we had years ago, bright and easy.
That was you and Tom Beard.
Yeah. And my mom wanted to
mom
know
was
which
the one
one
that
was
brought
bright and which one was easy. My mom.
Did she ever get an answer to?
Tom had some. I think he said something about your mom always had it right. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark's the bright one, and Tom's the easy one. Mark is his brother, who's the professor.
Yeah. Or was. He's retired now.
professor. Well, once you're a professor,
Maybe
you're
he's an emeritus now. I don't know how that works. But.
It could be. The academic world of academia
Yeah.
is a little hard to figure out sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially for those of us that only have a high school education.
Yeah.
Good to have you here today on this Wednesday. It's June 28th of 2023. What we do here on a regular basis is we talk about topics of the day. Many of them have a way of making news, I guess.
Yes.
The one thing. It's a promotional segment for a lot of stuff that's coming up, too. Things that you can do publicly and enjoy, like fireworks coming up and that sort of thing. What's going through your brain?
Things you can do publicly. That's even changed over the years. So some things we wish weren't public, but
Should we start this segment over again?
Yeah. I was just thinking all the smoke that's out there. Yeah, we would talk about that.
Yeah, we are going to do that because we always start off with weather. But when I got here this morning, I thought, I'm going to put the Litter Media drone up and take a look at the weather. Here's what we're seeing. This is all the smoke from the Canadian wildfires. It was down here. This is probably about, 8:45? Is that about the time you pulled in the parking lot? And I noticed when I normally come into town down 772, I'm coming through the Huntington Hills, and I usually see about 8 different ranges of hills. I could only see one today. And so this is pretty thick smoke that we're seeing here.
As a result of what you're seeing there, in fact, let me get the very latest here. The National Weather Service is calling an air quality alert until 12:30 tomorrow morning. Now, as we speak at 11:08 in the morning, in our area, the air quality index is 107, which is similar to yesterday at about this time, but it's expected to worsen throughout the day. So what they're telling people with any kind of respiratory difficulties, it might be best that you stay inside or at least not be out as long as you typically would be, because basically you're breathing in smoke from these wildfires coming out of Canada.
And you can smell it. I mean, as soon as you step out, I've turned the vent on my vehicle. I push the inside air circulation just to keep from getting smoke in the car. And I would think if you're out taking your walk, if you're a morning jogger, that sort of thing. Now, from what I understand, some of this is going to clear a little bit this afternoon, but then come back again in the evening hours. So, but this is what it will look like just shortly before 9 o'clock this morning. Wow.
Smoke gets in my eyes, the old song said.
It was smoke from a distant fire.
How many songs can we come up with?
Yeah. But just seeing the Pixel smokestack,
right?
When I was coming in from the other side where the sun was shining into the smoke, you couldn't hardly see it that clearly.
Right.
Now you're seeing what the sun is actually hitting it, and it's reflecting back at me. But on the other side of that, it was smoky as Everything else was.
Yes, sir.
All right, so weather-wise, here's what we're looking at today. We see there is a disturbance off to our west. That's why we stretched this out so you could see it. But what are we looking at today?
Yeah, well, again, the air quality alert, you're looking for a lot of clouds. Sun will try to peek through here late in the day, as Dan said, and with a brief respite with the smoke not quite as bad, but then it comes back. But again, that alert in place until about 12:30 tomorrow morning, and then we're expecting it to clear out, as you see. Thursdays, mostly sunshine.
All right, coming up in just a moment, we'll get you caught up to date with the news topics of the day, other than the immediacy of the weather. We'll jump into sports and this date in history with Mr. History, Mike Smith. Mike has the moniker. His brother has the degree.
Correct. He's got the credentials, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you have a big cleanup job to do and you need a dumpster to put all that stuff in, well, they can help you out. 740-253-8389 is the number to call. Reach out. Carl will take your your questions. He'll give you answers, and then he'll show up with a dumpster. And then when you fill it up, they'll take it all away. Whether it's residential or business, give them a call. 740-253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters. News next.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
At Rathkamp Financial, we act as your advocate in all wealth matters. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust with our customized investment solutions. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652. What is making news on littermedia.com? Mike Smith has details.
Really interesting story out of Ohio University and the Lancaster area. David Camp of Lancaster and a graduate of Ohio University has been doing archaeology for 15 years since he graduated from OU, helping government and private agencies preserve archaeological and historical cultural resources. But recently, Lamp was on his hands and knees, trowel in hand, when he found something on June the 2nd that made his discovery of a lifetime. A fluted point that he discovered likely dates back to some of the first people to live in Ohio nearly 13,000 years ago, toward the end of the Ice Age. It's quite an extensive story on our website at littermedia.com with all of the information of what they found, what that means for the state of Ohio as far as our prehistoric peoples. So a really interesting find by a guy from Lancaster, David Lamp. The Ohio School Safety Center has announced that 16 Ohio high school students have been selected for the upcoming Ohio Student Safety Advisory Council, and several of them are from right here in our backyard. Alyssa Dudley and Ella Strauch of Chillicothe High School, along with Holden Leemaster of Logan High School and Emerson Crowell of Athens High School. You can get the full list of all of the people that were selected to this council from around the state of Ohio, but that also includes these local students. Weekly ride bands are on sale now for the Ross County Fair, which is coming up in early August. Now, only 600 available, so buy them soon. You can follow the link and scroll to the bottom of the page on the Ross County Fairgrounds and Events page on Facebook and click Get Tickets under 2023 Ross County Daily Fair Admission.
And if you can't find that, just go here in the Facebook feed on Litter Media. We shared it yesterday, so it's right down there.
Very good, sir. We've been talking a lot about 4th of July activities, which include, of course, July 4th in Chillicothe, but Fayette County Fairgrounds in Washington Courthouse has their annual Fire in the Sky the day before. Chillicothe always has theirs, and that's a 10 p.m. show, July the 3rd, Fire in the Sky. And they always do a great job. Their fire department is the one that puts that show on there each year.
That's a good idea because you put it on, and they're the people that's going to put it out.
Put it out, right. Yeah. Also, on the 4th of July, Lancaster will be having their annual 4th of July parade. Get ready to line the streets of downtown Lancaster as the parade marches through the historic downtown. The parade leaves the Fairfield County Fairgrounds, which is pretty much right there in the city of Lancaster, at 10 a.m. that day. The community dining area will be taken down for the weekend to accommodate the parade route. That's over in Lancaster. Save the date for the 3rd annual Cars and Stripes Car Show, proudly sponsored by Emma's Frosty Cream and Pizza in Beaver, on Saturday, July the 8th. Now, the car show is from 11 to 2, and a cornhole tournament will be at noon. Now, the neat thing, Emma will be giving away, as in free, hot dogs to the first 100 people in attendance to the car show.
How about that?
So get in line early for a free hot dog from
Hot
Emma.
dogs! Yeah!
Get your hot dog. The annual Hope Conference comes to the Overflow Mission Community Center on State Route 124 near Piketon. That'll be 6 p.m. July the 14th. Christian music and resources will be available for those in need. Now, the group is also trying to get up a center to run in Latham, Ohio, on the other end of
center?
Pike County. Yeah,
There's centers down there?
center.
Oh, center.
Well, I'm sure there's centers too, but this is a center that they want to try to get up and running in Latham. The Ohio Department of Public Safety has issued a warning about a sophisticated identity theft scheme that's impacting individuals across the state or country, including Ohio. Now, the scheme, which was first identified in Texas earlier this year, involves the use of stolen personal information to answer online Bureau of Motor Vehicles security questions and gain access to individual BMV accounts. Once inside an individual's account, identity thieves then request a driver's license or identification card reprint to be mailed to a new address. So if you're seeing things coming to you in the mail that doesn't quite seem right, that deals with your identity, call the BMV ASAP, a lot of acronyms here, to make sure you're not defrauded.
Never been to Anytown, Ohio.
Anytown?
Yeah. I mean,
Or
they've got-
Anywhere Street.
They've got Anywhere Street
In
there.
Anytown, Ohio.
Anytown,
Yeah.
yeah.
That kind of sounds like it would belong right here in Southern Ohio. With a town like Knockemstiff, you got to have an Anytown somewhere. Speaking of Southern Ohio, we've been telling you over the last couple of weeks about a road project. Well, Grubb Road in Ross County has finally reopened at the intersection with State Route 772 following completion of bridge work as part of a resurfacing project on 772 between Blaine Highway and Bishop Hill Road. Now, there is still a daily lane closure in the rest of that stretch of 772 from 7 to 5 each day. And that is your topics for today.
Yeah, they had a traffic light there while they were doing the work on the bridge. And as I was coming through this morning, they still had maybe, 20 yards that they needed to pave on what would be the south side of Grubb Road. Now they have stripped all the pavement all the way up to almost to the big area there, the Camp Creek area.
Right.
That big long curve that's all now grooved pavement, and it sounds really cool in your car.
Stagecoach.
It
effect, yeah.
is, it is, you bet.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of that tarred on the that would be the southbound lanes on my way in this morning. So I imagine on my way home they'll have at least the south side done. So
Very good.
looking forward to that. I could avoid that and drive around it, but I just want to watch the progress. I always like seeing that work being done.
Yeah. You news guys, you're all the same.
Especially when you're used to dodging potholes and that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, now it's smooth.
It's an improvement.
I like it. Sports on the way in just a moment, and we had a special guest in studio. We'll share details on who she is coming up in just a moment. Also want to tell you about our friends at Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisors. If you click on this ad anywhere you see it, and this is the same story for all of our sponsors, when you click on the ad on littermedia.com, it will take you right to either their website or their social media, so you can see the latest goings-on at our sponsors and with our sponsors. Get more details when you click on this one right here at littermedia.com for your trusted comfort advisor, Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Budweiser beer, the king is second to
Who drinks Budweiser? You know the type. The people who grind. Those who don't back down. And the ones who don't quit. They say all people are 6 degrees of separation away from each other. But some are just a six-pack away. The people who share the same spirit, share the same beer. This Bud's for you.
At Rathkamp Financial, we offer customized investment solutions and superior client service. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
Time for sports, and we start with a National Player of the Year.
Yeah, about an hour and a half ago in our Pickaway County Special Edition, we talked to New Hope Christian Academy graduate and National Christian School Athletic Association D3 National Player of the Year, Maren McAllister. Again, she was our guest this morning. If you didn't get a chance to watch all of that, go back to our Facebook. It'll be on YouTube here later today. But she's going to be heading, I don't know if you can see her shirt well enough to know it says Concordia University. That's in Ann Arbor, Michigan. She's going to be going up there to play college basketball this coming year.
If you're just looking at this, you could say, well, it's Otterbein. Maybe it's Ball State. Is it Louisville? No, it's Concordia, where we should be going.
Yeah, and she's an outstanding athlete. Her senior year, she averaged like 24 points, 10 rebounds, I think 3 or 4 assists a game. The story that we had about Maren being named National Player of the Year on June the 12th, we've bumped that back up in the rotation, and there's also a link to this interview in the story, which you can find. So you can find it at Facebook, later today on YouTube, or in our website at littermedia.com.
24 points again, and she was a point guard.
Yeah. 5'11" point guard, which in college will be handy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Southeast District Athletic Board has honored their 2022-23 Scholar Athletes. You know, we talk so much about our athletes and their prowess on the field or on the court, but where it really counts is in the classroom. Now, those that are pictured there, this is half of the 18 athletes that were honored at a banquet in Jackson last night. Now, the complete list of honorees can be found within our website story, again, at littermedia.com.
How did we not get an invite to that dinner?
You know, the only time I think I was ever invited there was when I got an award, and the other time I went was when our daughter Sarah was one of the honorees. So that's the only 2 times I've been. But we want to thank our buddy Paul Boggs of the Portsmouth Daily Times for helping get that information to us.
I bet he was there.
I would say he probably was.
Probably for the meal.
He knows a guy, yeah. He knows a guy. You remember the old Colonial restaurant, which is now Archinetti's? That's where this used to be held.
Ah, gotcha.
The establishment that they mentioned this time, I didn't recognize it. How about these guys? The Chillicothe Paints have now won 7 in a row, and the guy that won it the 2 previous nights, Tim Orr, has triples to open the 9th and scores on a walk. So this guy is pretty much taken over.
At least this week.
Yeah.
To make it win.
Yeah. 7 straight for the Paints, but you said they've got another game with Johnstown.
Yeah, they've got 3 games at home with Johnstown, and then they'll play 2 games in Johnstown. So I'm trying to remember if they play at home tonight.
I thought I saw where they were, or maybe on the road tonight. But
Go ahead and talk a little bit about
Yeah.
this. I'll grab the schedule.
This happens when you get older. Our screen is so far away that it's kind of hard for us to see where that is. But, yeah, they are playing Johnstown after their 6-5 win over the Mill Rats last night for their 7th consecutive win. And that I think their overall record is now 16-8.
You're being kind about the eyesight because this was just memory. I couldn't remember. But, yeah, they opened up the homestand Sunday. So tonight they'll be in Johnstown. Tomorrow night they'll be in Johnstown. That'll complete 5 consecutive games with the Mill Rats.
Now, are they still doing the half a season championship format?
I believe so.
Okay, so that should be winding down here within the next few days.
I would say by July 2nd.
Yeah, and then the second half. So if you win your division in the first half, you're guaranteed the playoff, and then if you didn't win, then you've got the second half. Remember 1981 when Major League Baseball did this because of the strike? Well, the Reds that year had the best overall record for the year, but didn't get in the playoffs because they didn't win either half.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't like this either.
But go Paints. Speaking of win streaks, the Reds snapped their 3-game losing skid last night with a 3-1 win over the Baltimore Orioles, and in doing so, since the Mets beat the Brewers 7-2, the Reds are back in first place by a half a game over Milwaukee.
McLean had a run-scoring double, and that how they got on the board first. Then he followed with a home run, and then T.J. Friedel, after the rain delay, knocked one out. And so there you go, 3-1.
So that's 2 nights in a row that the Reds and Orioles have had rain delay. I don't know what the forecast is for tonight's 7 o'clock game, but that's where they wrap up that series tonight. A trifecta. All of the teams that we cover in baseball won, including the Guardians. They beat Kansas City by a score of 2-1. And that is a look at sports.
All righty. The Litter Media Wayback Machine doesn't go too far back today.
Not this time.
Where are we dialing up for?
The year 2007. Talking about a familiar, talk about icons, iconic things, something that's familiar to most Americans.
And it takes a micon to know that.
That's right.
Coming up, a look at this date in history and a radio moment. Today, we talked about yesterday doing it today.
Litter. It's actually a litter moment.
Yes, so it's kind of a radio moment as well.
Okay.
So we'll explain.
So you got the approval from the boss to do this.
He has not said yay or nay.
So Matt, here it comes.
All right, stick close for a moment in our history coming up right after these words.
At Country Clipper, pride runs deep. We take pride in knowing our mowers help create a space for families to make memories. That our features transform mowing into an enjoyable experience. Most importantly, we take pride in knowing the decision to purchase a Country Clipper will be one you can be proud of for years to come. Country Clipper zero-turn mowers.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
McDonald's, it's Wednesday, and every Wednesday at McDonald's in Chillicothe, Circleville, Greenfield, and Waverly, they hold open interviews with the managers. So if you are looking for work, they're looking for you to join the McDonald's crew.
I'm coming, guys. Clear out the drive-through for me so I can get through.
They were washing and scrubbing the walkway leading into the door next to the drive-through yesterday at Western Avenue McDonald's. I stopped in for lunch, and ironically, the manager met me. Kelly came out and handed me my food. So Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it.
I want to see if she's going to do that for me today.
Well, she was willing to do that as opposed to scrub. She had someone else scrubbing the sidewalk there, which
if she sees me, she'll probably pick the scrubbing instead
That
of
could be, yeah.
waiting on me.
Yeah. If you are looking for work, they're looking for you. McDonald's in Circleville, Chillicothe, Waverly, and Greenfield. McDonald's,
I'm loving it.
2 until 5 today. This date in history, 2007.
You know, we say that not too far back, but that's not yesterday. It's
You're
getting
right.
farther and farther away. On this date in 2007, the United States removes one of its most commonly used national symbols from its list of endangered and threatened wildlife. The delisting of the bald eagle, which has been close to vanishing from North America around the middle of the 20th century, was one of the most notable wildlife rehabilitation efforts in American history. And so much so, it's become almost common to see the bald eagle here in our area now.
Yeah.
I see them probably once a week.
Tim Brooks, let's see. I knew as soon as I started talking about all these photographers that I know, I'm going to forget some names. Tim, along with Chad Siders, Tom from iHeart and there's another that I can't think of their name right now. I apologize. But they show a lot of eagle shots that they have taken. And I recall around 2008 or 9, when my wife was working downtown for a lawyer, she was out taking a break, and there was this eagle flying up Paint Street.
How about that?
And she says, it's an eagle, you know, one of those kind of things. And I've only seen one in the native setting, and that was on 772. And I thought, why is he over here? Because he was in the road eating roadkill. And when he spread those, it's one thing to see the turkey buzzard do it, but to see a bald eagle do it is majestic. It really is.
There are ponds out in there are lake pond retention ponds out in front of Adena School District, and one day it was kind of neat. Here comes an eagle, and he plucked a fish right out of that water and just kept on going.
Wow,
kind of neat.
It was almost like you were looking for Marlon Perkins, watching
Wild
things
Kingdom.
in flight. Yes. All right, we wanted to discuss about a radio segment, and on this radio, Dan and Mike Radio Memory, we basically are going to talk about the end of radio, at least for us.
Not the video killed the radio star end,
Right. Video gave these radio people an opportunity,
yes,
I guess, in this respect. So I'm sitting at a Chicago concert down at Riverbend Music Center. I'd never seen Chicago in concert. I'd wanted to my entire life. I had an opportunity when I was in Columbus, and Peter Cetera was sick. That got canceled. That was during my high school days. And then when I worked for Sunny 95, there was an opportunity, and I didn't get a ticket. So I missed out on all that. But I got to see them on their 50th anniversary tour. And so here I was sitting there, and I got this message on my phone, and it was from Matt Litter. And he says, hey, I got an idea I want to pass by you. And I thought to myself, okay, it's probably another ad campaign, because I had sat in with other clients for the radio station to hear their ideas about campaigns. So I said, okay, great. So I stop in, we sit down, we have our meeting. He starts telling me about this idea that he has, and I'm thinking, he's talking a lot of video. Why does he want my opinion on video? Because I'm a radio guy. And he explained to me at the end, we want you to join the team, and I want you to run it. And I'm like, you mean leave everything I know and do something that I don't know? And he says, yeah. And I'm like, well, and the reason this conversation came up was he knew that we had already lost Mike from the radio station, and my show was coming to an end on WBEX. And so he asked in his presentation, what are we going to do for the types of interviews you did, the things on your show? And he says, I got an idea. I got a YouTube channel. And so here we are. This will end up on YouTube, but what you're seeing is on Facebook Live. And so we went from merely shooting videos, telling a few stories, that sort of thing through video, to COVID comes along. And we started doing this daily show, myself informing the public on some of the changes going on in our business community. Restaurants were closing down, and some of them were able to do certain deliveries and that sort of thing. So we started sharing that. We called it spreading the word and trying to get that information out. By that time, you had come back to the radio stations. And then suddenly, one day, you and I got to talking, and Mike's along the lines of, well, they're having more layoffs at the radio station, which is, it continues to be a problem in the broadcast industry. And so you were on vacation.
In Florida. Yeah.
I mentioned this to Matt, and he says, why don't you see what Mike's up to? So I said, well, I know what he's doing right now.
Taking a walk.
So I texted Mike, and I said, tell you what, give me a call when you get back. I know you're on vacation and everything. Next thing I know, he's actually calling me because your wife and daughter were off doing something on their own.
They were on a bike ride, yeah.
You were alone, you and God on the boardwalk, and said, I got time to talk. And that led to what we're doing now. So we were together broadcasting first as competitors, then eventually we became a team.
Right.
And then we were separated again, then brought back together, separated again, brought back together. So this is our third time together? Or fourth time?
Something like that. I lost track, yeah.
So it's the ever-changing or evolution, I guess, of the broadcast industry. And then we got news this week. There's been more changes at the radio station. So our thoughts are certainly with our radio family members that we have enjoyed experiences with over the years. But here we are, something new. It's now almost 6 years old, and we appreciate those who have jumped on board with us. I'm watching the scroll of our sponsors there in the corner: Kingston National Bank, Pickaway Ross Career and Technology Center, Adult Education, and we could go on and on. But thank you for those who have supported what we're doing. The question is now, where do we go from here? Well, we've got some more things in the works that we hope to be able to tell you more about here in the coming days. So sit close for that. And so we've gone from a website that was just a video player and a YouTube channel to a YouTube channel, Facebook page. We do have Instagram. We don't use it as much as we probably should. Twitter has gone through the roof. When Mike came on board, he's the Twitter master, makes that happen. And then, of course, the website as well, littermedia.com. We're trying to do our best to tell the good about our communities. And we, of course, have kind of cut our teeth on Chillicothe because of familiarity. Not only us with Chillicothe, but Chillicothe with us. And back in January, we started expanding our programming into some of the Pickaway County focus, Fairfield County focus, and, we don't ignore Pike County.
Right.
I can't. I live there.
You better not.
But as far down south to the river, and we go west as well. We had that story about Mount Orab.
Yeah. Oh, my.
Was it last week you released the story?
Earlier this week, yeah.
And it has just gone bonkers with people conversing about our post, but also those reading it from the website. So this intent was not to do hard news. We wanted to talk about the good things going on in our community. And there's plenty of outlets where you can find out, some of the really bad stuff. We don't want to get into that. But if you have watched through to this point and you enjoy what we're doing, we thank you for that. Thank you for your support. Tell others about it. I noticed today we've had several people watching today. Do you mind if I say hi to some folks?
Sure, go ahead.
The likes of Carolyn Coker, who's watching right now, our buddy Jacob Wise, the voice of the Chillicothe Paints, Rick Bethel William Shreve, Ramon Conley, Michael Warren, Rebecca Lewis, also Tina Richendaler, Peggy Conley, Ruth Carter-Glandon. Aunt Ruth always checks in. And Jennifer Wing, thank you so much for the folks that are watching right now. And if you believe in what we're doing, keep telling people about us. And when you hear Litter Media is coming, and it has been neat when we've walked up to an event, I think when the governor was in town.
And the commissioners saw us come in.
And we can get started. Litter Media's here. We appreciate that. So thank you again for your dedication in watching us on a regular basis and keeping us afloat.
I just had a thought. Should we be thanking COVID or blaming COVID for this daily program?
We have often talked about how COVID ruined everyone's lives. And we kind of joke about that, but we know the serious nature of what COVID has done, and we lost a lot of people during that period. But how things have transformed because of COVID, some of them, I think, for the better.
Well, this very show has morphed into something different than what it started out as. So.
Exactly. And I'm going to divulge a secret here. I was concerned about my job. I thought to myself, surely they're going to look at this and say, why are we still doing that, and axe it because of COVID. And then I got to talking with, at the time, Ben Ackley, not Ben Ackley. Ben Ackley's the basketball coach, right?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Former health commissioner.
He was the health commissioner here for a while. And Ben says, tell you what you're doing is so important to what we need to get out there. If you need a letter written endorsing what you're doing, I'll write it and help defend your job status. All the while, the boss is thinking, I had no idea of cutting. We're doing what we're doing. I'm committed to this. And I can't tell you what that does for an employee to hear that the boss is fully behind all this. And so we were committed to that. And then shortly thereafter, they explained that energy companies were deemed essential. Well, thanks to our relationship with our parent company, Litter Quality Propane, we were an energy source. This became essential. And then it was on them that they said, maybe the media should be essential as well. And there you go. So we jumped through all the hoops we needed to make sure that we stayed, health-wise.
I got COVID once.
We didn't have guests here in the studio during all that period. But you talk about being isolated. I mean, this is like we're in a loft. We're not down in the basement somewhere. But we very well easily could have been down in the basement somewhere.
Certainly.
So to speak. But and you had COVID once. I had it once.
Yeah.
But
I think I gave it to you.
That very well
I like
could
to
be.
share. You know.
Yeah. But we just have kept rolling right along. And we, again, want to thank you, the viewers who are watching, the readers that pay attention to what we're doing. And we've got something more coming to you that I hope you will enjoy. I want to tell you about it so badly, but I can't just yet.
His mouth watering. He's almost going to spit all over.
I am salivating even as I
Actually, he's hungry.
I think it has something to do with the Little Debbie Swiss rolls that I had before the show. So, well, when you take morning medication, you got to have something on your belly. So, there was my Little Debbie Swiss rolls. All right, that's it for the show today. And that's Litter Media in a nutshell. Coming up tomorrow, we still have we're waiting on confirmation about a potential guest for at 10 o'clock. But if that does not happen, we'll have this regular show that we normally do about 11 o'clock. And you can always find out more on our YouTube channel and watch us right there as well.
Very good.
For the Micon, Mike Smith, I'm Dan Ramey. I'd be the decon, I guess.
The decon.
The Micon, the decon. Thank you so much for watching. Back with you again tomorrow with another edition of Litter Media